get you back inside your head before the summer ends and spread a little love. Just for a little fun, I'll make you come back to me before the rise of every sun. Baby, it's meant to be, I know you got a man, but he don't understand. You're gonna be a heartbreaker, you're such a love taker. So just suck me in and you can toss me like a cigarette, 'cause I just wanna be a bad habit, yeah. There's rhythm in our love, it's impressive, excessive. You can't make this stuff up. My chest beats, it's restless, wakes the neighbors up above. Yeah, baby, come and show me love. Baby, come and show me love, because you're gonna be a heartbreaker, you're such a love taker. So just suck me in and you can toss me like a cigarette, 'cause I just wanna be a bad habit, yeah.
Take a one-way ride, steal us away to find a place we can hide. It wouldn't take much to disappear for a night, just to give into the need and leave it all behind.
'Cause I know that you know that I know that you want me. You told me, now show me, come blow me away. 'Cause I know that you know that I know that you want me. You told me, now show me, come blow me away. You're gonna be a heartbreaker, you're such a love taker. So just suck me in and you can toss me like a cigarette, 'cause I just wanna be a bad habit, yeah. You're gonna be a heartbreaker, you're such a love taker. So just suck me in and you can toss me like a cigarette, 'cause I just wanna be a bad habit, yeah. Suck me in and you can toss me like a cigarette, 'cause I just wanna be a bad habit, yeah.
Good morning. Thanks for watching Inside the Numbers with the People's Pundit. 5 days to go, folks. 5 days to go. All right. Yeah, new look. It's 5 days to go. Let's get all electiony over here, shall we? All right. So Pennsylvania, excuse me. Pennsylvania has tightened significantly. We're going to look at that right now. And I'm going to spend a lot of time on Pennsylvania today because we will talk about the other states the more we roll with them. Okay. I will tell you right now, it is all eyes on Pennsylvania. It is. That state has moved in a way that, we're not done crunching Wisconsin and Michigan, but it's just looking at the raw, just looking at the raw itself, Pennsylvania looks like the state that's going to decide the election. All right. So just peaked at Wisconsin. That's almost done, just about done. We'll probably have that soon. Michigan, I peaked at that has wrapped up. Data collection in Michigan has wrapped up. There is some funny polling out today. I'm just not even going to address it. I can see why some of these people are getting the results that they're getting. And if you don't pair education with region, you could really have a big blunder, a very big blunder. Okay. So Wisconsin could look ridiculous. Yet somehow you look at Kenosha and it's basically dead even in Kenosha, or even a little bit of a lead for Donald Trump because there are more Republicans there than, or at least there are more that tell us they're going to vote on election day and have voted already. So, it's just odd, just very odd. It depends on the mode you're getting. You can poll rural areas of the state and I would tell people if they're not just completely caving to the pressure, which that may be it. If they're not caving to the pressure, I would tell them to make sure that they are looking at specific subgroups and whether or not you called somebody who, the education doesn't match that area, whatever it may be. I mean, that is some of this. I'm just saying that's some of the stuff we're seeing. Right. So in Pennsylvania, though, I love polling Pennsylvania because it's a state, first of all, I'm pretty familiar with. And secondly, the participation levels the disparities aren't as bad between groups in Pennsylvania that we have seen in other states. Okay. So there's a more enthusiastic, I want to talk to you from both sides as opposed to just one side. And that is a real big issue this year. And that's called non-response bias, by the way. All right. But looking at PA right off the bat, and we'll pull it up right off the bat, you may notice the electorate did not get, as far as the partisan split of the electorate, that is not what is accounting for the shift in Pennsylvania that we are finding. What it is, there are some more people that are what's the word? They're identifying, I guess, as a partisan when we know they're really one of the 18%, someone in the 18% group that are independents. So it looks like independents tightened a little bit, but that's really not true. And then the crossover vote is bigger for Trump this time. It's really not the case. There are a couple of groups that I want to nail and I want to talk about today because that is what made the movement. All right. There's the initial tracking results. I did do a vote preference by education. I want to show you that. That is a big number. So we are now seeing no college, Pennsylvania vote preference, no college degree. Biden's at 37.5%. Trump is at 55. So that's a big gap. And then Trump is, losing the other groups. He's just not losing them as badly as we had found in the past. And I'll tell you what, I got to say this. If you were old enough to remember 2016, you are old enough to remember that he did not poll that well among these groups back then. It's gotten worse with graduate and undergrad, but it was never great in the suburbs for Donald Trump. Donald Trump winning the suburbs in these states, in some of these states, even by a few points, white women by 2 points in this state, 3 points by that state, with a college degree. That was a surprise. He was supposed to lose these groups, and he did not. If you use a phone collection mode, you will get a much bigger, phone collection mode with a live interviewer, you will get a much bigger disparity. There is no doubt a social desirability bias with people who have college degrees. Why? How do we know? Because if we give them the chance to take it online with anonymity, that gap is several points in both directions smaller. So that is a telltale sign that there's a desirability bias. Okay. All right. Let me just shut up here and bring this up. All right. That's what they want. All right.
Everybody loves the new background.
Hey, excellent. I wanted to get a little bit more, what's the word? I wanted to get a little bit more, snazzy. Yeah. So, while we're pulling it up, let's see if they can see that. And actually, if they want, I'll put the background that that we have here. I'll give them the new one. But, I think more importantly is to focus on the data here. All right. So number one group off the top, younger working people. Folks, I don't know how long you've been around. Republicans don't win the 30 to 44 age group. They don't even come close to winning it most of the times. That's just the truth. All right. But here, and I know it's hard for you guys to see, so I'm going to read it out to you. Okay. Donald Trump is slightly edging out Joe Biden with the 30 to 44 crew. All right. The overall percent now has tightened significantly. Joe Biden moved up 0.2 of a percentage point. That's it. We got almost 4 out of the 6. We got roughly, because it was 6.6% undecided in our last poll earlier in the month. All right. Now there is only 2.9% undecided. So let's just make that a nice clean brown, a 3.7. All right. And Joe Biden moved up 0.2 of a percentage point. That's it. Donald Trump moved up from 44.6% or something to 46.5%. That is a slightly better widen with males, and he closed females a little bit. All right. And I'm just, giving you the top line number of what's going on here. And we'll get into, look at seniors. Now in our polling, Donald Trump has a slight lead with seniors in Pennsylvania. This has happened to Democrats in the past. They look like they're polling better with seniors. And by the way, we can look at some of these questions. Seniors absolutely are among those who will tell us they are uncomfortable being honest with their political opinions. All right. They're also significantly between them and groups of younger blacks. They were the ones who were like, well, I'm kind of leaning one way or the other, or I'm undecided. Astonishingly, if you look at our last poll, those black voters who were undecided, they were not, I'm thinking they were not really undecided. They leaned to Trump, which shocked the hell out of me. I thought that was an opportunity for Biden to widen out his lead here. And I'll tell you all why I think this could either go a couple of points for Donald Trump or Joe Biden could, hold on and maybe widen it out a little bit. There are groups that Donald Trump absolutely needs to get to the polls. The good news for him is that they are telling us they are going to vote. The bad news is they're sporadic voters. They are not always, and he needs them all. He is disproportionately winning the election day vote. It's overwhelming, but he needs sporadic voters to show up on election day or to go vote now before in person, before. And it's all Pennsylvania's weird, Laura. It's absentee in person.
Right.
It's ridiculous.
Isn't that like an oxymoron?
It is an oxymoron. It's totally, you're either absentee or you're right freaking there, right? Which one is it? And let me put it on figure 8 so you can hear.
There we go.
And just so you can hear Laura in case you want to hear Laura. Let me scoot that over. All right. There you go. You should be able to hear her a little bit better now. I'll turn it up so it reaches across the room for her. All right. So the gap with 18 to 29s, Joe Biden is underperforming for a Democratic candidate. Hillary Clinton at this point was at 62% among this group in our polling. She is no longer there. 30 to 4. He is not there. 30 to 44, Donald Trump slightly edges out Joe Biden. 45 to 64, Donald Trump has maintained roughly about a 5-point lead. And 65 plus, Donald Trump has taken now about a 5-point lead. All right. That is a change. That is a drastic change. Two things here. Younger workers, a change in seniors who, by the way, now are getting more and more alerted to this story. And I don't know if that's it or if it's energy. The 30 to 44, that's energy. Some of the margins in these rural counties, I have never seen in my life, ever, polling, ever. 80% in some of these. And I know they're small subsamples, but typically that works the other way for Republican candidates, right? Mm-hmm. Laura, you can attest to this. Yes. Typically, what I mean by that is the Republican's going to get 65, 70% of the vote, yet they're only polling at about 58, 60%. It usually works the other way. And yet in Pennsylvania, we are seeing what are monster rural numbers, monster. And that could be a real problem for Joe Biden if he doesn't widen out his performance in Lackawanna versus Hillary Clinton. I do think he'll do better in Lackawanna. I suspect he will. Just that the numbers right now are not showing it. The other poll did. That was the one of the 3 counties out there that we polled in the Northeast: Luzerne, Monroe. Luzerne is a romping. Monroe looks like it's going. And Lackawanna looks like that's Joe Biden. That is why they're basically tied in the Northeast, except Trump has a lead. It's just not as big as you would think. Lackawanna is disproportionate in our sample, but if we wait and call it the Northeast battlegrounds like we did before, then it's Trump by about 14 points. That's because of an overwhelming lead in Luzerne, and Monroe looks like it's going. It looks like it's going to be close, but this is now the third poll where I've looked specifically at Monroe, and Monroe looks like it's going. All right, so it looks like Joe Biden's going to lose Monroe. All right, I'd be shocked if he didn't. Frankly, I'd be shocked. The energy thing is probably what hurt him with the 30 to 44. Why? Because that 30 to 44 margin for Trump is out west. It's in the central area of the state. That is where if you were to nest them, he's romping it. The working class vote widened out since our last poll. And it's moving the state since we polled it before and gave Biden a pretty, small, but a pretty clear edge. Pennsylvania has moved to Donald Trump since then. Democratic vote share now, the crossover vote. This is another problem for Joe Biden, is now 12%. I told you last time, 10%. If that Donald Trump started to widen that out a little bit, then that was a problem because now we're approaching Hillary Clinton crossover levels. Donald Trump maintains a lead with independents, although it is true that lead, I suspect, is actually really the 5 to 7 point lead we found before, 5 to 8. But There were some people this time, we know that they're calling themselves Republican. And if you ask them, but they're not Republican. So that is a telltale sign they're going to vote Republican. All right. So that is accounting for that little, little shrinkage in the independent margin and a widening out of the Republican chop in the turnout advantage. So we had a D+5 before. It's a little over D+4. That is what accounts for that. All right. So the independent vote is probably, if you were really to drill it down, it's probably bigger. But that crossover vote now for Donald Trump is approaching the teens, and that's a problem because it's going to keep going. This is what happened in 2016. It's going to keep going. Why? Because who's undecided, folks? An older white Democrat who calls himself conservative, who right now is telling us, yeah, I support tariffs. I support fracking. Do you like Donald Trump? I kind of somewhat approve of him, or even I somewhat disapprove. Trump gets vote shares from people who say they somewhat disapprove. That happens. It's statistics. That happens. How comfortable are you talking to a pollster? Very uncomfortable. They don't want to tell us they're voting for Donald Trump. It's really that simple. And you can see it there, about 1.5%. The independents at 8.2% are largely the ones who are undecided. This is the group I'm telling you with Trump, if he wants to win Pennsylvania, he's got to get this group out. You see him right here? I'm wiggling my little mouse around him. This is it right here. Who are they? Some of them are moderate, but most of them call themselves conservative. They have no college degree. About 7 out of 9 of them don't have a college degree. It's a ripe target for Trump, but he needs to get them out because at this point, why are they telling us they're undecided? This is a turnout game at this point. You see a media plus 15 poll. It's nonsense. It's just nonsense. They made a mistake. They caved to pressure. Unfortunately, I see for that. This election will be decided by Pennsylvania. That's it. Michigan and Wisconsin don't look as rich. And I haven't gone through it all, but, Kenosha's tied. Dead even, tied. And the sample in Kenosha leans a little bit female. So if I had to say right now, I think Trump's going to edge Kenosha out 2 to 4 points, 5 points. Which is amazing. Yeah, but then there's other areas of the state where it's offsets. Yeah, like Laura, I mean, we really shouldn't be calling Font the Lac and 42% have a post-grad degree. Like, these are the problems we're having. Why? Because if you're Trump supporters, stop hanging up on us.
Seriously.
Stop abandoning the online survey. It's out of control. And I mean seriously out of control. How do I know you're a Trump supporter? Because you choose damn Trump and then hang up. Right? Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. It's driving us nuts. We can't collect responses. I wish this show had 1 million viewers because then I could get that message out, and that goes for Biden supporters too who hang up because there are some, but I would say no joke, it's probably 10-1 abandonment rates. For every 10 Trump supporters who abandon or hang up, you get 1 Biden. I'm not kidding. It's that bad. I know you hate us like you hate lawyers, like slip and fall Mike Avignati lawyers. I get that. But we just can't do our jobs like this. Yeah. And this is why I like Ohio and Pennsylvania. Not that I dislike anybody from Michigan, I'm not saying it, or Wisconsin. It's just that in Ohio and Pennsylvania, attitudinally, they don't care, Laura. They don't care most of the time anyway. Is there issues? Yeah, there are issues. But for the most part, it's not as bad as some of the other states. Florida, another one. I think this is coming down to Pennsylvania because Florida is, I know multiple people. I don't have to go back into Florida to tell you. You saw how close we had the MPAs. You had Susquehanna yesterday coming out with the huge margin for Trump among MPAs. I went over, Rasmussen sent me their stuff last week, and they were like, do you have him surging with independents in Florida? I mean, there are people who are just legit concerned. Is this happening? It looks like Florida's gone to Joe Biden. I'm just saying, I hate early vote predictions, and I'm not using early vote to say that, not solely anyway. I just talking to some people who know, they're on the ground. They think that I'm actually a little bit bearish on the difference in the vote in southeastern Florida. There are a lot of votes there, guys. If Trump gets 100,000, 150,000, 200,000 more votes out of Southeast Florida, that's how Bush ran away with Florida in his reelection. He just did better among Democratic areas. And he just ran away with it. If that happens, then that's it. That's a wrap. We went over slightly yesterday in, and by the way, North Carolina, I feel the same way too, because similar Black African-American support for Trump in North Carolina, which disproportionately is more conservative than some of the other battleground states. So it likely will be more pronounced than even we see it in Florida, for instance. Laura, you have something you want to say?
Well, I just wanted to touch base on, like, when you were talking about Pennsylvania, like, also the effect could be rioting.
And Kenosha, that's specific. Yeah, Philadelphia. I'm going to get to Philadelphia.
Okay.
I am.
Sure.
And Kenosha too. Like some of the weird things that we're seeing in Wisconsin, I'm like, this doesn't make sense to me, given we have because we have a bigger sample in Kenosha. I specifically hammered Kenosha because that is such an important area of the state. And I hammered it, and I wanted oversampling in Kenosha. And we got solid, decent, good samples in Kenosha. And if you pushed me, I would say Donald Trump's going to carry Kenosha. Well, then it doesn't make any sense. And you know what? Maybe, Laura, I'm glad you brought that up. Maybe because they've had impacts by current events like that, maybe that explains why they're more willing to participate than the rest of the state. Maybe that explains because they're frustrated and they're you know what?
Their city deteriorating.
I'm glad you brought that up, because I'm like struggling. I'll be honest with you guys. I'm struggling with some of the stuff I'm seeing because it doesn't make any sense. And then I look at some of the media polls you guys will send to me. No matter how many times I tell you to stop sending me the media polls, I need to be in my own data. I'll peek but it makes sense to how they can come up with these crazy numbers. I don't think they believe those numbers. I don't. I think they're happy to fudge them to put it out at this point. But I see where they're coming up with them. And then they have no incentive to try to find the mistakes they made and account for them. And they don't have an infinite budget either. So they don't. And they just put out like, Biden has a slight lead in Michigan, but a 20-point lead in Wisconsin. You see these polls this morning? You see this? I mean, it's nuts. I mean, they did that on purpose. But let me get back to what I was talking about with the African-American vote, because I'm losing my train of thought here.
Wait, clarify.
Oh my God.
You have to clarify.
What's up?
Because
What's
people
up?
are confused. They're saying gone for Biden, meaning because you were speaking about Florida, so they think you're saying.
Oh, no. I mean, Donald Trump is going to carry the state of Florida. I mean, look, you can't Miami cannot swing 9 to upwards of what some people are modeling out and showing to me, 9 to 14 points. Well, I think 14 is a little bit bullish. But our poll, the 9-point swing in Miami, the 4-point swing in the Orlando Atlantic Coast region. And because I was being exit poll friendly, Orlando, of course, is liberal, right? But then you have the Atlantic Coast, the Space Coast, right? You have the Atlantic Coast and all those rich Republican counties on the Atlantic seaboard. That was about even in 2016. It's now about Trump plus 4. Miami-Dade was Clinton plus 30. It's now anywhere from Biden by 15 to 20. Folks, we're in that area, that's 100,000 votes. That is what that small swing means. It's not a small swing. That's my point. It's a very big swing. So even when you hear, like in our poll, we get the Tampa Bay area where you have Pinellas, Pasco, and Hillsborough. The Tampa Bay area was even in 2016. Donald Trump fought her to a draw because he got clobbered in Hillsborough. Hillsborough is going to go a little bit more. Maybe Pinellas goes a little bit more. I'm not convinced it will. I'm not, because of my own polling. I think that Pinellas, there are some voters in Pinellas that are Trump voters. They're not Republican voters. But I wouldn't be surprised to see a DeSantis map on steroids, which is what I'm calling it right now. DeSantis outperformed in Miami-Dade. Trump is going to do even better than DeSantis in Miami-Dade. Both sides now completely will admit that. Now, I know they just lie on television because that's what they are, professional liars. But privately, you talk to both sides, everybody knows the Miami-Dade vote is going to be the talk of the night. So if Joe Biden does 2 points better with whites, but Donald Trump swings Miami-Dade anywhere from 9 to 14 points, nobody's going to be talking about the 2 points with whites. You understand what I'm saying? And in Florida, we found similar black African-American numbers. They could be upwards. They could be a big chunk of the vote. All right. I mean, the white vote is 62 to 68% in Florida on any given election cycle. 62 is rather low, frankly. But the rest is Hispanic and black vote. Very small Asian other, 3 to 5, 6% tops. And and to wrap up the point with Pinellas, Trump couldn't do poorly like DeSantis did in Pinellas. And Pinellas did not swing the Eastern Seaboard 4 points. And he still edged it out because of the turnout advantage. It looks like Trump is going to swing the Orlando, Atlantic Coast area by 4 to 5 points. He's going to swing Miami on average 9 to 14 points. I mean, some of those 14s, I'm not ruling it out, but I would not be surprised. Hillary Clinton won Miami-Dade by 30 points. That is not going to happen this time, and everybody knows it. There's just too many new Cuban arrivals. There's too many new Venezuelan arrivals. It's just he's doing better among existing Hispanic voters that were there before. And there are now 3 polls that show independents, NPAs in Florida, which the New York Times said would go for Andrew Gillum by 20 points in 2018. And they said they would go for Joe Biden by 14 points. Nobody believes that. And now there are 3 polls that show, in fact, they're swinging to Trump at the end. So that's what I mean by Florida is a very heavy lift for Joe Biden. North Carolina, I don't give a damn what the polls say in North Carolina. They're always abysmal. Always. The black vote share in North Carolina for Donald Trump is probably going to be even bigger than it is in Pennsylvania. So let's get to that actually, right? So where did we have Trump before? The Epoch Times Rust Belt poll in Pennsylvania, Donald Trump's vote share was about 17%, right? Again, with the New York Times, 22%. So it's not like I'm alone out here on the plank, right? Then he dipped down a little bit in the poll that was, he had a rough couple of weeks between the media recycling coronavirus stuff, the dark winter, the first debate, the dark winter narrative. He had a rough couple of weeks. And that state ran about 4 points away from him because then that first poll we did in Pennsylvania was Trump +1. We just didn't release the state by state results, but it was Trump +1. Then we cycled back and it was not, the last one, the very last one we did was Biden by about 2.5, 2.4. In that poll, black vote share fell to like 14 or 15%. I don't have it in front of me. If you guys do, then you'd know if you're looking at the crosstabs on the spreadsheet right now. Matter of fact, let me go and look just for posterity. All right. It was just what I zoom right by race here. Where's the race? Race. Come on. The hell is race? You guys see that anywhere? Did I accidentally junk race out of these crosstabs last night? No, there they are. There they are.
Say, you weren't that tired.
No, I wasn't that tired. So 16.3%. So he did tick up in that little poll, and that's in that poll from earlier in the month, October 9th to the 12th. That's probably why. But we did see some race back to unsure, undecided, whatever, right? Now we're back, and I showed you the black vote yesterday. on a age basis. And we went over it, and I said, astonishingly, the younger the vote, and this makes sense to me, the older black voting community has a stronger tie to the Democratic Party than younger, especially working black African-American men. And the younger you get, the higher the vote share for Donald Trump is in Pennsylvania. And that's been the case with other places too. It's just that there was a very clear, solid subsample, and you could see it. 18 to 29, solid support. And then it got, smaller as it went. 30 to 44, still 18, 20%. 45 to 64 started to go down a little bit. Remember from yesterday? Did I put it up? I still may have this that I could show you guys superimposed. Yeah, here it is. All right. So you remember this from yesterday? 18 to 29, 22% black support for Donald Trump. 30 to 44, 18.8% support for Donald Trump. 65 to 64, 12.1% for Donald Trump. It's not until you get into seniors when you see that retreat to the usual Barack Obama number. All right. And even one Hillary Clinton did much better than it looks like Joe Biden is going to do with some of the in some of at least some of the battleground states. All right. God bless you, honey. All right.
Thank you.
Whites now. Trump widened out his lead a little bit for whites. Look, if I was Donald Trump, I'd want to win 55% of the white vote, at least in Pennsylvania. But that's me. I mean, the bottom line is, if you really, this is real, is what I'm saying. In all the time, and that's why I brought up Matt's comments yesterday. All the time I've been doing this, guys, black vote shares for a Republican. We are now 5 days until the election. He's going to win a higher share of the black vote. And it's astonishing to me. Most of this comes from the other parts of the state, but there's no doubt that some of it does come from Philadelphia. And they're very quiet about it, and they're just going to do it. They're just going to do it. All right. That is what helps, by the way. Here we go. Let's move on by party here. This is the danger zone for Joe Biden. So right here, where Joe Biden is according to the exit polls, Joe Biden is a little bit worse in base erosion than Hillary Clinton. All right. That's a serious problem for Joe Biden. All right. Let's look by region, shall we? Philadelphia. And this is some of the other stuff. Donald Trump is at 27.2%. That was about 25%. Again, not out on a limb. We are not the only ones to find him in the 20s in Philadelphia. This is a little bit higher than it initially was. I know where this is coming from. Donald Trump won 2 wards in Philadelphia, and then the increase in the black vote, some of that attributed to it here. All right. And then also in some of the burbs, we just found with people who have a bachelor degree, not a graduate, but a bachelor degree, he was doing a little bit better than last time. So there were some Republicans, they are Republican, and they are in more ritzier areas. And they, maybe, I don't know. I can't say it's the riots. I really don't know. But it's possible this is some noise and this comes down a couple of points. That would totally make sense to me. Just as the central part is going to be bigger for Donald Trump. Dutch is going to be bigger for Donald Trump. And actually, here's the Northeast right here, Laura. It wasn't that close, So Allegheny, Donald Trump's at 38% in Allegheny. That's about where he was in 2016. However, that 2.5% down here, those are those older working, Democrats and independents who are conservative. These are not black voters in Pittsburgh telling us they're undecided. So that could boost Trump right at 40. This is a freaking close race. Mm-hmm. That's what I'm saying. But Donald Trump, I'm working on my pronouns. He needs those people to come out that we were just talking about, because most of them are not out yet. That's just true. He needs them to come out. If he doesn't, he could lose by like 3 or 4 points. It could in this state. That can happen. But he definitely needs them to come out. All right. Let's see. Let's go through some of the things that I found a little bit weird. Italians right here. This is what I mean when I was talking about before with education and region. I don't think Joe Biden, I understand, guys, the subgroups have these nationality, and I will put that up. The overall survey has a sampling error of 3.1%, but nationalities and smaller subgroups, depending on them, like the Italian subgroups, that is more like 7%. It's about 6.5%. So, it could be off either way. But typically we found Donald Trump leading with Italians. When I looked at them, Italians are not highly, and I don't mean this at all. I am Italian, so I don't want to hear anybody's flack. The fact of the matter is that the working class is underrepresented here in this group. And by the way, in the English, this is tightened because his working class English support got tighter. Donald Trump is winning with the Dutch. That's the second time we found that. The French was a little bit of a change. But again, small samples like this matter. Trump maintains his very big lead with Germans. This is how he won Pennsylvania, by the way. This is how he won Pennsylvania in 2016. All right. And then Norwegians overwhelmingly for Donald Trump. Very small subgroup, but this is weighted. So when we weight, it will impact nationality. So maybe there were some Norwegians that were in the regional subgroup and they were maybe removed because of just for weighting. All right. So, and then we really added Norwegian for Minnesota and Wisconsin. But I wanted to see if there were any, because we had a bunch of others in Pennsylvania from the first time. Same thing with Swedish. Not really a big deal to be adding Swedish to Pennsylvania. That's for other states. Joe Biden is doing very well among Swedish nationalities. Trump is doing exceptionally well among Scottish and Scot-Irish. He maintains a big lead with Polish nationalities and other. That's a small lead, but he's now winning other when Joe Biden was winning other by a small margin in the last one. But Norwegian, Swedish, and a few others were not in the last one, if you remember. So it's at least reasonable to argue that they were in other. And that's why Joe Biden maybe had a few point lead in the other category, because non-white is right here, right? So you'd be shocked. There were I went back, I actually looked, and I saw African-American self-report as like French or something. I'm serious, and that could be because that's how we identify nationality, right? It's not that they're lying to us. It's absolutely possible. All right. But again, big categories to look at that the English vote tightened. They tend to be very overrepresented in these polls. They are right here. I'm not going to wait for nationality. I did it to just try to get an idea. But Germans are the biggest and largest group in Pennsylvania. You can see here the English are actually the biggest group. And Joe Biden has a 2-point lead with them? Less than a 2-point lead? Germans are the biggest group. And Donald Trump has a 15-point lead. This is, I did this just to give you guys a more granular idea of things, a more granular look into the data, but also to show you the various ways that you can catch whether or not maybe if there's a poll, let's say there's a polling error and Donald Trump wins Pennsylvania, surprise, like 3 points. And we go back and we say, well, what the hell happened? Everyone's going to be like, it's the shy vote. It's the shy vote. And I'm sure some of them could be attributed to that. But my philosophy. It also could be contributed to, we had too many damn English in the poll, right? That's why I did this. I thought it would be pretty cool to look at. Funny thing here, Trump was winning the union vote before. It flipped a little bit. I went and looked at it. It was where these union voters came from. So much, much more urban areas than the last poll we conducted, where Trump had a nice, pretty nice size lead. Okay. Retires getting closer. Biden was doing much better with retirees before, although seniors are going now slightly for Trump. Just because you're a senior does not mean you consider yourself retired. And that's just the truth. I mean, it is, right? I mean, it is true. So Trump is winning because the senior sample, those in the senior sample considered themselves, I still work. Don't call me a retiree, right? Those guys. You guys know those old guys I'm talking about. They disproportionately support Trump. Trump actually was winning the disabled vote in this, which is not normal. Usually those who have disabilities or consider themselves to have disabilities vote for Democrats. That was a little bit surprising to me. Students obviously overwhelmingly going for Joe Biden by ridiculous margins. Unemployed but not working is Joe Biden by about 9 points. Unemployed but looking is much tighter. And then, but a couple of points for Joe Biden, which makes sense because if you're disenfranchised, that you lost your job because of COVID, which is why, guys, I told you the COVID lockdown was an enormous political strategy error by the president.
Well,
These
people
are
tired of being
people,
locked up.
these are people, okay, right here. These are people, and some of them, I'm sure, may have voted for Donald Trump because he said he wouldn't listen to the dumb experts who ruined their lives. So now it's, that's why Joe Biden stepped in it when he said, oh, yeah, I'm not ruling out lockdowns, because some of these people, no doubt, were like, wait, what? So they blame Trump for losing their job, but Trump is the one saying we can't lock down again. And Joe Biden saying, I'm not ruling it out. There you have it. Unemployed, working part-time, very close, but that is a slight Biden group. And then if you are a worker full-time, you are a Trump voter. All right? That's just the way it is. Look at education. Wow. 20 point edge for Donald Trump in education. That is when you start to look at the white, no college, and he's at 60. He takes, what did I say yesterday? He's taking about 20-something% of the no college degree Hispanics. He's taking 20-something% of the no college black voter group, right? It was like 20% roughly.
Yeah.
It's really astonishing how, yes, it's whites that are overwhelming, but it's astonishing that it's across the board. So it really doesn't matter what race you are. Same thing is true with Asians, who he's getting clobbered with. If you don't have if you're a working class voter and without a college degree, and you work, then you support Donald Trump at a higher rate than your entire race overall. And that's says something, right? So this widening out from where it did last time, if you guys remember, it wasn't enough for Trump last time. It was like 53-39 or 54-39. You can see Biden is falling with this group. He's actually falling. It's not just that Donald Trump is rising. He is actually falling. That probably had something to do with him saying he's going to ban fracking. That probably had something to do with him saying he's not going to rule out more lockdowns in the dark winter that's ahead of us.
Oh Lord,
that kind of
about depression.
They can't take this crap. Laura, you heard that young guy yesterday. Remember? He was like, "We're like, what's the most important? What's the most important issue?" And this is a guy, you would think is a Democrat voter. Like, this is your textbook. How do Democrats get votes in rural America? This is like what you would think. But he's like, yeah, we just can't take a lockdown anymore. That will murder us. That will kill us. Mm-hmm. We cannot survive anybody who says another lockdown. Jobs, energy, jobs, energy, jobs, give us jobs.
Not to mention, though, but moms also see the child suicide rate spiking. Moms care about that stuff. Mm-hmm. They want their kids back in school, social interaction, activities.
Women tighten. Joe Biden's still winning women, but women no doubt tighten. And again, Laura, something that's making me a little bit nervous. Mm-hmm. He wasn't going to win the vote share. Like right now, we're comparing polling vote shares to results. And in 2016, Donald Trump never had the vote shares among these groups. Do you understand? You remember? He never had it. Do I have to go pull up the ABC tracking poll that showed Hillary Clinton clobbering him among suburban women? So I feel like if these polls got worse over the years, I'm worried that the whole damn thing is just broken. I really am. And we do it differently here. So I'm not going to rely on the laws of randomization, right? The idea of a random poll. Almost nobody is random. Almost nobody obeys those laws anymore. So you can't expect that to work for you. It's just, like this right here, about even in the suburbs. And Trump has increased his rural sample. This is what Pennsylvania looked like to us in 2016. About a 5-point suburban win for Hillary Clinton.
Mm-hmm.
Do you remember?
I remember.
It was just overwhelming rural vote for Donald Trump that gave him a 0.6 or 7 edge in our poll.
You remember
She was going to win the suburbs. Do you remember?
Oh, you remember me crying?
But I'm saying, like, the polling difference today, they're acting like this is new or something. It's not new. He was not going to win the suburbs in 2016. That's very close. Every suburb is different. And ironically, in Wisconsin, we are simply not seeing the runaway from Donald Trump suburban thing. We're just not. And in Pennsylvania, this looks like 26. This is almost identical.
It's like deja vu.
It's deja vu. And by the way, Hillary Clinton maintained this slight 0.7 to 1 point edge until Sunday, which was the last time we crunched it. And that's when it went to Trump 0.6. All right. Let me talk about the danger here for the Trump campaign and the opportunity here for the Biden campaign. All right. Certain to vote. And these rural numbers, by the way, guys, I can't even tell you. Cambria, just before I get off the area, Cambria County. What else was a shocker to me, Laura? I mean, just huge Venango, just huge vote shares in some of these areas. Huge. Anyway, certain to vote or already voted. 50.2% for Joe Biden, 46.9% for Donald Trump. That lead is disproportionate to people who tell us they have voted already. All right. Likely to vote. It's Trump by almost 20 points. That means these are people who did not vote already. All right. They're not certain, but the odds of them voting are greater than 50-50. Better than a coin toss. Actually, that's a phony statistical comparison because a coin toss. A coin toss. Now I'm starting to flip words. All right. That is actually not 50-50.
That's called lack of
all right.
sleep.
Yeah, it's called lack of sleep. Lack of wanna, lack of sleeper. All right. I'm dying over here. Anyway, 52% Donald Trump, 51.4 Donald Trump, 35 Joe Biden. Now, Joe Biden has a small lead with the voters who tell us they are unlikely to vote. Yet, we did put them in the sampling for reasons that I'm not going to share because some stuff is just proprietary. All right. But we did put them, even though this is technically of likely voters, we did put them in the sample because we believe that there's at least a 30% chance that these people will show up. Now, if some of them don't, and these folks do, Trump could win the state of Pennsylvania by about 2 points. It could make that much of a difference. It really could. All right. So that's something I want. Oh, but by the way, if they do, and these folks don't show up, Trump could probably lose it by like 4. It would look like a Mitt Romney loss to Barack Obama. Something like that. All right. So there you have it. I'm going to take a quick break. That is the poll in Pennsylvania. The takeaway here is very, very quick tightening to Donald Trump in the state of Pennsylvania. And it's all, if I was Donald Trump, I would just set up a mobile White House in Scranton, Pennsylvania, right? Because this is where I'd want to keep Joe Biden's vote shares down. Because if he does do better and tries to outperform in the Northeast, he's going to do it in Scranton. So if you cut off his right,
No, you didn't.
Then he really has no chance. He will have no chance. You can't. He has got to make up 24% in Philadelphia somewhere. Donald Trump got like what? What is it? Go look it up. 13, 15% of the vote in Philadelphia in 2016. Even if we're wrong, even if the New York Times are wrong, and it's 18, it's a problem because some of these rural counties are ginormous. Ginormous. All right. So there we have it. All right. I'm going to take we do have to do a shortened show or I'll just never get out Wisconsin. I'll never get out Michigan. Michigan's next. Wisconsin is going to take, there's still collection, I believe, in Wisconsin. Let me just make sure. Sometimes I'll look at it and I'll say, I don't like this. We need a larger sample with this subgroup. And I do it all the time. Looks like Wisconsin is still going a little bit. Let me see. Let me take a look real quick before I go to a break. And I'll tell you guys how far off we are from Wisconsin. I wanted Wisconsin today, but I'm just not going to release something that I am not dead on about. You know what I mean? It's just who I am. All right. Looks like spreading out throughout different subgroups. There's about 152 more that I want. All right. Spreading out through different subgroups of people. All right. And that will no doubt. We will allocate leaners. By the way, this is leaner allocated. We were able to push in Pennsylvania, like I said, a good deal of those undecideds. It was about 6.6% last time. They tried, right? They tried to be about 6% again this time. And we were like, no. If I absolutely twisted your arm, who are you going to vote for? Come on. You know. All right. Who's it going to be? And we did a pretty good job in Pennsylvania pushing them. And we're going to do that everywhere else. All right. All right, folks. So you're watching Inside the Numbers with the People's Pundit. Follow me on Twitter at Peoples_Pundit. If you don't already, don't forget to like the page, People's Pundit Daily on YouTube. Inside the Numbers is sponsored by PPD. And hit that notification bell. That will let you know when we're going to go live. All right. You guys could, of course, always still support the Public Polling Project. But I think, and I think we're good, right? I think we're really close to good. And of course, on Friday, we'll go over that.
We could fill in.
If there was like it would not be a big one because you guys raised a lot of money. All right. Polling is a lot of money, but you guys raised
to support people
a lot. Yeah. And of course, if you want to support People's Pundit Daily, I have been looking at the subscriptions, the increase in subscriptions this month. We love you guys for it. There will be a slew of new economic data on the site today with, of course, your charts and everything you guys love. But yeah, we thank you for it. Don't forget, of course, if you still are a Facebook user, even though they are apparently blocking us, all right, or not PBD, just me. It's me. It's a particular target on me. Yes. Yeah. So like People's Pundit Daily on Facebook, that's a great way for you to tell them to stick it up there, right? Isn't it?
True story.
You want to fight back? Send those likes to the moon. That's some crap, man. I didn't even know it until somebody sent me something on it. I didn't even know.
Well, most of your periscopes are not viewable.
Yeah, I know. Look at me today, man. I like my hair is like totally slick back. Oh, Lord.
You sexy geek.
Yeah, shut up. All right. I'll be back in about 2 minutes. I got a big story I'm going to share with you after the break. And then I'm going to go because I'm going to go back to work. But I got a huge story on vaccine development right now that I will share with you on the flip side of the break. And that was a glitch in the camera because somebody, again, called during the show. He's banned. Ban him. We'll be back in 2 minutes. More Inside the Numbers.
How much you wanna bet that I can get you back inside your head before the summer ends and spread a little love. Just for a little fun, I'll make you come back to me before the rise of every sun. Baby, it's meant to be, I know you got a man, but he don't understand. You're gonna be a heartbreaker. You're such a love taker. So just suck me in and you can toss me like a cigarette. 'Cause I just wanna be a bad habit, yeah. Rhythm in our love, it's impressive, excessive. You can't make this stuff up. My chest beats is restless, wakes the neighbors up above. Yeah, baby, come and show me love. Baby, come and show me love. Because you're gonna be a heartbreaker. You're such a love taker. So just suck me in and you can toss me like a cigarette. 'Cause I just wanna be a bad habit, yeah.
get on a plane and take a one-way ride. Steal us away to find a place we can hide. It wouldn't take much to spear overnight just to give in to the need and leave it all behind.
Cause I know that you know that I know that you want me. You told me, now show me, come blow me away. Cause I know that you know that I know that you want me. You told me, now show me, come blow me away. You're gonna be a heartbreaker. You're such a love taker. So just suck me in and you can toss me like a cigarette. Cause I just wanna be a bad habit, yeah. You're gonna be a heartbreaker. You're such a love taker. So just suck me in and you can toss me like a cigarette. Cause I just wanna be a bad habit, yeah. Suck me in and you can toss me like a cigarette. Cause I just wanna be a bad habit, yeah.
All right, we're back. We're back. Real quick economic update. The FHFA, the Federal Housing and Federal Housing Administration or whatever, house price index is up 8% year over year. That's nice. S&P Case-Shiller up a little bit less, 5.2%. That's still nice. However, the trade in goods deficit narrowed significantly to about 72 billion this month. That's fantastic. All right, so there we have it. And then, yeah, I mean, I wonder, actually, there was one more I wanted to give you guys. Nope. That's it. Never mind. Off of that, I have some very big news about the vaccine development. Where's my phone? Where's my phone?
Yo no sé, ese.
Oh no, this will be a scoop on PPD later. So I'm not going to give it all away. But it is, once in a while we'll get scoops, and we'll, inside we'll drift away from the data journalism aspect of this. But I will say this: we know some people in the vaccine development world. And they're very tired. They was like talking the other day about this, that it's like Richard Nixon not being able to say anything to JFK at the time he was vice president. And JFK was making the allegation that the U.S. was behind on ballistic missile development with Russia. But because it was top secret and you weren't allowed to speak about it publicly, that there was nothing Richard Nixon could say that, he's lying. He's lying, and he really couldn't because he was vice president and he had to keep his security oath, right? So he couldn't say anything. Very much like that when it comes to vaccine developments. These things are not really totally public. And the people are getting, it's not that even some of them are particularly backing Trump. That's not really what this is. What it is that they're tired of Kamala Harris and Joe Biden. Number one, obfuscating their work with whether or not the president is trustworthy. So it was appalling to them that their vaccine would not be safe because Donald Trump is the president. That was like the final straw that broke the camel's back. But then the use and the politicization of vaccine development really pisses them off. All right. And this is where they're at. Anthony Fauci wants Moderna because he has friends there. And I think we all know this. He wants Moderna to win the vaccine race. And it looks like Moderna just doesn't have first of all, this is why I really needed my thing and I don't have it, but their negative results are too high. So sometimes you have adverse effects. Their adverse effects are not good. They're not as good as some of the others. And I will tell you right now, Pfizer is the leader in the vaccine race for coronavirus. They have been for a while. All right. They have now submitted everything to the FDA from their initial, which is really all they needed to, rounds. They will start doing other very detailed subgroups later. But where they're at right now is that this is submitted to the FDA. They're on track for approval. And on an emergency use authorization basis in EUA, which is how it was explained to us. In EUA, the date is November 20th. All right. And that is a huge scoop. If anybody publishes it later today, it's because they stole it from this podcast. I know for a fact nobody else has this information. All right. And they just got sick of it. All right. And I'll just tell you that the sources got sick of it. They just got sick of this crap. And usually they shut up and let the process do its thing, but that's where we're at. All right. So it's a huge story. It is after the election. So if you're a Trump supporter, you're like, damn, why won't they announce this ahead of time? I don't know, because Anthony Fauci wants Donald Trump to lose the election. I don't know. I don't know the answer to that. I can tell you that I know Anthony Fauci has made comments about the status of vaccine development that he knew to be false at the time that he made it. There is no way the head of the National Institute of Health does not review the applications. And by application, I mean when they submit the data, the findings of the trials, and where they are in these studies. There is no way that Anthony Fauci didn't know he was lying that Friday when he sent the market down. Do you remember that? That was another thing that thoroughly pissed them off. Because he knows his guy, his team, his guys, the one he's rooting for is not that far ahead. And there are also some very interesting things with the coronavirus when it comes to vaccine development that was not normal for a regular, natural, and I'm not saying the Chinese manufactured it. It is worth noting, however, that the origin is, any kind of study or topic of the origin, they may even take this down right now because I'm talking to you about this. But there are ways to construct vaccines, right? And that's why Moderna was thought to be the leader, because of the way they deal with RNA, mRNA, Gesundheit.
Sorry.
So the antigen method was not going to work. And this is why I wish I had it in front of me. I don't have it because I'm not a doctor. So they have to lay this out to me in terms, that I can understand. But very interesting stuff. And we will not find out about it, and I think that's a disservice to the American people. We won't find out about it until later for two reasons. One, the nature of how these things work in the medical community.
They also have to bid.
Yeah, I mean, right. So Operation Warp Speed allocated quite a bit to Pfizer. Again, something that, pissed off the bureaucrats in Washington who are backing other vaccine development teams. They are rooting for other vaccine development teams. They want other vaccine development teams to profit off of this. And they're mad as hell that they are not at the winning that race. And they're not going to win the race at this point. The race is over, really. They just haven't got, like, the other team is basically at the finish line waiting for them to catch up. Like if you want to use a 5K analogy. Okay. So there you have it. And it's a huge story. We're going to put it up on PBD later with a lot more details, but it's a huge story. And it's unfortunate that the American people won't hear most of the details of that story for a while. And some of that is there's definitely some suppression efforts and some censoring efforts, but then also this is the way this works. This kind of a process works. It is.
And Trump can't say anything.
And he can't. And this is what I was going to, Trump can't say anything. And it's too easy for somebody like Fauci, who is a liar, man. The guy lies. I know now multiple statements he made publicly. He lies. And because Trump can't come out and say with detail, this company has done this and shown us this, and we're on track for this time period. He can't do it because it's too easy for a liar like Anthony Fauci to come out and say, oh, that's not true, because we can't go and look at the submissions. So it puts Trump in a box. But I will say, I'll reiterate this. The comments by Joe Biden and Kamala Harris specifically, I wouldn't use that vaccine, really pissed them off. Because Donald Trump is not developing the vaccine. And they are doing their damnedest to get it done as quickly as possible. To save lives. That's what they do. To save lives. And they're appalled. They are appalled by a major party ticket politicizing and basically taking a crap on their work. Think about, if you think I'm tired, think about how many hours of sleep these people have been missing over the last 3, 4, 5 months, 6 months. You think I'm tired.
Right.
because I'm polling states ahead of an election. It's not cool. It's not cool.
No bueno.
All right. But there you have it. All right. So there's that. Somebody brought up Arizona. Look, I am just a little bit behind, but Arizona is still, it'll be a little change, but we still have Trump winning Arizona. But again, when Laura was asking me to bring this up during the break, it is contingent on Trump getting out that vote on election day. Normally, Arizona is 80-20. But we do still see a lot of Republicans wanting to get that. Yeah, wait. Republicans are just afraid. Now, that changed a little bit because we did see Donald Trump make a push. He went there and he said, vote early, vote in person, vote early. So that we did see that make a little bit of a change. And look, when your president from a party is telling you how to vote, it has an impact. But now it is down to where he's got to get this vote out on election day. McSally, it does look like McSally is going to take a little bit of a lead. All right. And I mean a little lead, maybe 1-2 points. I mean, a little lead. And that is from this going on. This group of no college, independent, they self-identify as independent. They have no college degree. Most of them are white, but not all of them. They're kind of like a Ross Perot voter. They kind of remind me of a Ross Perot voter. And they're not Republican voters. They don't particularly like the Republican Party. They would rather sit out an election. They may even vote Democrat once in a while if they like that particular Democrat. Mm-hmm. But most of the time, they'll just sit it out. Midterms. Yep, midterms, stuff like that. But they love Trump, and they're voting for Trump by it's like 30 points. That particular group. It was 59-30 or something. It's a big margin. But they weren't keen on McSally. And it looks like a good lion's share of them are now saying that they will vote for her. And I think that has to do with Trump, period. And the reason why it is possible, I actually now, even though she's been running a little bit behind Trump, I wouldn't be totally stunned if she winds up doing better than Trump in Arizona. And I'm not sure she will. I'm not saying she will. I just wouldn't be stunned because Trump does better with independents because of that group. And McSally does her performance among Democrats, crossover votes, is significantly better than Donald Trump's. Democrats in Arizona hate Donald Trump. And that has not changed. Got a little bit better. But I mean, we were at like 3% at one point, which is really bad from a statistical point of view. It's just the reason why he was running ahead of her is because of that group, largely that group. And because he was taking, he does better among the Republican base than she does. That's what cost her the election in 2018. She lost too much of her Republican base. So that's an easy one to crunch. That won't be up there. I was so focused. And by the way, we're still polling in Arizona. I was so focused on Pennsylvania because I saw the move and I'm like, and I wanted to make sure I was right. So I took a lot longer in Pennsylvania than I should have. And then the test run, the trial run for election night, because I'm remote and everybody else is in a studio in Arizona and Phoenix. I'm remote. That took like 2.5 hours yesterday. Took a big chunk out of my day, which is why I do have to shorten inside the numbers. I do. Now, though, I won't get the workload done, and you guys paid for the workload. So it's got to get done. What else, Laura? What else am I missing here before we go?
People are wondering why he stopped in Nebraska. Do they think that Nebraska?
I mean, it's right there. Nebraska 2 is close. It's close. Nebraska 2 is not Nebraska 2 from 4 years ago. It's not Nebraska 2 for 8 years ago. I still give Trump like a, 1 point, 2 point, but it's close. If you guys look at Nebraska 2 on a map, it is totally different than the rest of Nebraska. And by the way, Nebraska 2's move to a battleground has nothing really to do with Donald Trump. It has been moving in that direction for many, many, many years. You could trace it from Bush 04 to McCain in 08 and Romney in 12. It just kept going from a double-digit Republican district to single digits to damn near battleground. It's very professional class. Very professional class.
So in essence, people are like trying to get a all around picture about between Pennsylvania and how he's doing amongst the Rust Belt.
Rest Belt.
Duh.
Right.
And they just want to overall like wrap it up into a bow.
So Ohio and Pennsylvania have been much closer to each other than other states in the past. I think 2016, Laura, the results of 2016 really made people jump to some conclusions that they should not have jumped to. Iowa always votes to the left of Ohio, except for 2016. That has been a long-standing, decades-long-standing voting trend, all right? And then you had Ohio and Pennsylvania typically vote within 2, maybe 4 points of each other. All right. That is why I always say, and then also it's a matter of attitudinally speaking, Pennsylvania and Ohio are just more attitudinally aligned to Donald Trump. All right. And then the energy stuff. There's 54 out of the, or 56, whatever it is, 54, 56 out of the 67 counties in Pennsylvania are Appalachia. Like Southeastern Ohio, like West Virginia. You see what I'm saying? So it always made more sense, and that Pennsylvania would be his best bet, even though Wisconsin fell first on election night in 2016. Michigan has always voted, in most cases, more Democratic than Wisconsin or Minnesota. It made sense to me that Michigan was always the hardest to hold on to. It did. I think, though, the polling problems in both states are going to be very evident. Those polls you saw this morning, they will be wrong. They will be. It's just a matter of how wrong they will be. And that's why we are doing, oversampling in Macomb County, right? So we look at Macomb and it looks like Trump's got a little lead in Macomb. And then you look at the gender breakdown, it's like 62.5% female. Well, no kidding. Is Macomb largely working class? Or do most people have a bachelor degree in Macomb? I mean, these are the problems. And this is because in states like that, the non-response bias is higher. It's higher. So Wisconsin's looks, personally, the raw really, it can be misleading. Mm-hmm. Wisconsin looks close to me. It does. But Pennsylvania is it. I'm telling you, it's it. Why? Because if he loses Pennsylvania and Michigan, Joe Biden is still going to win, even if Donald Trump wins Wisconsin.
He would have to win.
It has. Oh, he needs like Wisconsin and Minnesota, or Wisconsin and it's not enough. Wisconsin, New Hampshire, and the whole of Maine, and right, and Nebraska too, and the whole Arizona. It's just a harder path. Pennsylvania is it. All right, Pennsylvania is it. I have been saying this now for 2 months. By the way, as I was wrapping up my desk because I just couldn't even see straight anymore, I'm listening. I had Ingram on, and Tom Bevan from Real Clear Politics said, after all is said and done, Pennsylvania is tightening considerably, and the bottom line is it will decide the presidency. Have I not been telling you that for 2 months? And I would also say this tightening that we saw, I call it tightening over the last 2 weeks. But in truth, Pennsylvania has been tight the whole damn cycle. Mm-hmm. Since late August, since we first went into Pennsylvania, it was within the margin of error. Every poll. We just never had a Biden by 4. Biden by 6, Trump plus 6, Trump plus 4. It has ranged from Trump plus 1 to Biden plus 2.4. That's it. That's it. The poll that was the first poll that we put out, that was Biden's best Pennsylvania poll. I think that we did. That was his best range. Yeah, Gallup has, by the way, National Party ID. Gallup has a +2, D +2. All right. So Gallup does that. They put out the last one. But again, that is still, even if you look at this, I think accidentally I acquired, because if you look at this chart, okay, you can see at the end there, it does go back up to D +2. I think when I got the data set showing the trend from Gallup since '04, they accidentally put in this result that was released today, even though I did it 2 weeks ago. Look at when they do their numbers, guys. It's it always lags a couple of weeks. All right. So, or a week or whatever it is. But I had a D+2 and I looked in. I don't know if anybody's looking at the Gallup projections right now, but tell me if I got it. Let me see. Party affiliation trends, since it's going to make me sign it again, I bet. Yep, it is. But tell me if this is the trend Gallup has up today. Okay? Because I think they accidentally sent me something that wasn't supposed to be released. Or not sent me. They had put it up, and when I grabbed it off of their thing, it didn't show visibly, but it was in the code. Okay? Is it? Oh, I deleted it. Damn it.
Smooth.
Yeah, wait, though. Actually, it's at the end here. Is it Democrat 31, Republican 29? Is that what it is? Does anybody know? Or Democrat 30, Republicans 29, Independents 40. Is it roughly that? I'm curious. I'm just curious what it is. Because if it is, then they accidentally had put that available to people, and it wasn't visible. They must have put in like a, I don't know, They have coronavirus as the top issue. I think that's nuts. We just don't have that. The economy is 9. I think that's crazy. It's possible it's jumped up. Coronavirus gained some steam in Pennsylvania, but it wasn't still the top issue. The economy ranks as number 1 issue. It says right here, this doesn't mean the economy won't be an important. In fact, the economy ranks as number 1 that voters say matters to them for president. I wouldn't be surprised if coronavirus jumped up a little bit. I just wouldn't, because the bottom line is the media's really, guys, they have really pounded it. That's what they want to talk about. They knew they couldn't win an election on the economy, so they were trying intentionally to make it about coronavirus. And we did see it a solid 2, then down to 3. Then the media went and hammered and hammered and hammered. Arizona, the top issue in Arizona was the economy. The second was coronavirus. Third was healthcare. All right. And it also does depend on how you ask that question, because if you don't separate healthcare, some people may throw, coronavirus in them. It may get fudged. But it does look like it ticked up a little bit since, yeah, it is. It's all Yangs has had on, Matt. He's right. That's all they can't. They know they could not win an economy election. So law and order remains, 9, 10 points. That's what it remains. All right. Why don't you use the partial survey answers? Doesn't the voter file roll? I have the demo data anyway. Impute the item non-response with the voter file demographics so you can weight those OBSs. I'm not exactly sure what you're totally asking. Why don't you use the partial survey answers? Okay. That's a good question, actually. That's a really good question. Some of them, yes, you can go back to the voter file and you can do it, but there are other, you don't always know someone's nationality. And in fact, there are tons in the voter file when it's even income, education, that's not always on every voter file. So sometimes with phone collection, you can, but there's too many that are just, there's just too many that don't have all of that data. So each have about 400 data attributes that are attached to their voter file record. And if there are so many hangups that there are still tons. We do try to go back. That's what takes so damn long, processing data. Someone may answer most of the survey and then hang up the minute you ask them their personal income. What is your household income? What is your personal income? That's it. Yeah, but it's not enough if he doesn't. Wisconsin is not enough if he loses one of those other states like Arizona or something like that. It's not enough. And by the way, on Georgia, that was one of your questions. Georgia is just not that. That's why what Bill Hemmer did last night was extremely dishonest.
Derelict.
It was derelict. He used an old
tried to
poll
put
from the
down.
New York Times. Even they have now Trump +5. Same thing in Texas. New residents to Georgia are more liberal, but new residents to Texas are more conservative, much like we saw with Arizona. So where do they come from? They come from California. They come from Illinois. They come from New York. And then some are from the Midwest. And some of them are from actually Florida. I mean, those are the top 5 typically. And that's what, that's how it goes. So though it depends. I mean, Georgia, those are more liberal, but in Texas, while we do see suburbs moving, it's ironic because those recent movers are what are keeping Texas red. Same thing with Arizona, even though Arizona I wouldn't call it a red state anymore. I really wouldn't. Minor swings with those independents, and that's a wrap. I mean, really. So if it wasn't for those new movers to Arizona, then the second generation would swamp third generation voters. And it's really interesting. Trump's best group in Arizona is first generation. He remains at just under 60% of the vote there. And again, when we ask those top 5 states, that's where they're coming from. We see a similar dynamic in Texas. In Georgia, it's the other way. And everybody, thanks for the super chats. It is 11:22. Here's David. I'm going to end. Thanks for the super chat, David. I'll answer. What about the lack of enthusiasm for Biden voters? This has been something I've wondered all along. Can the quasi-election dynamic where we get to mail vote for a month, right? And then it's crazy. I mean, we have never conducted an election like this in our life, and never. Can that overcome the lack of enthusiasm? That has always been a central question that we have talked about. And it's a great question. We're going to find out. In Pennsylvania, I can tell you right now, it is not enough for them where they're at right now. It is not enough for that election day vote. It's not. Because if those voters, we went over those 3 categories before, if those Trump-leaning voters that are greater than 50-50 come out, then it will swamp. It will swamp Biden's early ballot lead, which isn't even as big as it was projected to be. And Dante's absolutely right with Miami-Dade. I mean, I really think Florida's, I never like pronouncing a state, but, because we don't know how these people are voting. So it's like the early voting. But I will say this. It does look like Miami-Dade is going to be closer than it's been since 2004, when George Bush lost Miami-Dade by like 6 points. I don't think it'll be 6 points, but we will not see a 16 margin or a 12 or 08 margin. I just don't. It's not going to happen, and I think every side knows that now. Maine 2, there was only one pollster who got Maine 2 correct in 2016. Maine is extremely difficult to poll, and it is possible. It's difficult. They have Trump up by 8 in Maine 2. I think that that's, roughly, I think he's going to carry Maine 2 because of demographics, not because of anything I polled. Just because of demographic voter preferences. And then because of the kind of Republican candidate Donald Trump is. If you remember, even in 2020, the Democratic primary, the polling was abysmal. And who did they miss? They got everybody in Portland and Bangor. That's why everyone thought Bernie was going to win it by 20 points. But he didn't win it, did he? He lost it because it's hard to reach the rest of the state.
I wonder how this whole entire breaking news last night, how it's going to really affect everything. Because he's fighting again.
There's another thing I want to note. It does seem in Pennsylvania, there are a lot more people. Now we're in the 80s today. There are a lot more people who are aware of the Biden story. In Wisconsin, it's like 70%. And in Michigan, it's 72%. So there's a huge chunk of voters who just aren't even sure of this. They just not. Yeah, Tucker playing Biden audio tapes today. He's going to be playing it today. This is where the danger is, and this goes to your question too. Let me go back up, David. This goes to your question too. it's not like this built-in early vote lead is all Biden needs. That's ludicrous. He does still need to not get eviscerated in the next couple of days in early voting and on election day. There will still be many, many millions of voters who turn up on election day. All right. So the point is, this could take a toll on that. And we just went over that in PA. Do I still have this up? It's not enough. And I don't have it still up. But if you go to the Google spreadsheets, you guys skirt all the way over to voting likelihood at the end. All right. Or I guess most important issue is at the end. That's the old one. There we go. Here's the new. And I will, by the way, I'll put up the other crosstabs before. I just wanted you guys to get the presidential race. All right. But if you want to dig in all the other stuff we asked, I absolutely will. So certain to vote or already voted, Joe Biden has a 3-point lead in. Likely to vote, meaning the odds are greater than 50-50, Donald Trump has a very big lead in. All right. So 16 points. There's a 1-point edge a group of voters for Joe Biden that is unlikely to vote, but we still included them because we believe they're less than 50-50, but they're greater than 30%. And Joe Biden absolutely needs those voters to vote. That is what he does. Otherwise, he'll lose the state by a point, 2 points. It could happen. He needs those voters to vote. And then there are that group that's in the middle there, which their odds are greater than 50-50. Donald Trump, that's his best group, and he needs them to vote. And they're more motivated to come out on election day. Yeah, we don't, Frank, that's a good question. And I want to make this clear. We are not changing the result because we are identifying a group that we think is shy. Mm-hmm. We're not. We're giving you the top lines, and we're showing you who these voters are on the public polling project. This way, let's say I come up and I'm just friggin' pulling a number out of the hat. All right. I just want to make sure. Let's say we come up with Biden +4 in Michigan. Okay. And then Trump winds up winning Michigan by 5,000 or 10,000 votes. Everyone's going to say, what the hell happened, Rich? It was Biden +4. All right. Well, that is the point of why I was showing you how many of these people here and what group are they. So I'm trying to have, in the event of a polling miss, which I know is going to happen, Biden is not going to win Wisconsin by 20 points. All right. It's not going to happen. In the event of a polling miss like that, then, a couple of points here. I'm trying to explain where maybe that 4 points could have came from, right? Where did the 4 points come from? And I'm trying to find out where those 4 points are. Because in Pennsylvania in 2016, that's something Bevan said he was wrong about last night. Bevan, Real Clear Politics changed the final RCP average in Pennsylvania after the election. It was changed. It was 4%, 4.4% on election day. It only was 2.2% after. All right. So Michigan, it was 6 points or something. Wisconsin, 7 points roughly. These were more than 4% polling misses. They were big polling misses. And I'm just wondering, where could those come from? And of course, I'm only including and considering pollsters that are being honest, because I think if you guys didn't watch What Are the Odds on Monday, I think it's pretty clear to at least some polls that Robert was right. What we saw on Monday was a cue to other pollsters that this tightening better stop. You better widen out these margins again, because if and when Trump wins, and it's another surprise, we're going to make the case he must have stole the election because it was statistically impossible for him to have won. And clearly, ABC News is doing it. And their NBC already agreed to do it. There is no other reason that you don't have a likely voter model right now. And how could you have Trump +4 in Florida, but Biden +17 in Wisconsin? Guys, it doesn't pass the smell test for me. It doesn't pass the smell test. And random sketchiness, that's another good point. I mean, in Michigan, he's got to win it by like 2 points, 1 point to make sure they can't take that and win.
If you go back through the episodes, find the old one about voter analysis in each state, and I'll show you how many ballots there are inactive ballots. In Pennsylvania, it's a foregone conclusion they're gonna cheat in Philadelphia. Don't take my word for it. Call the FBI. Those indictments spanned multiple cycles, including 2016. Hillary Clinton's margin, it is almost certain. Hillary Clinton did not win as many votes as is in the official count right now. That is almost certain from the indictments. It's just true. So in Pennsylvania, it's like 2 point. There are a lot. Allegheny, not so much, although Allegheny's got some dirty rolls too. It's Philadelphia. It really is Philadelphia. All right. So there we have it. And I knew someone was going to say this. That was a hypothetical. I just pulled a number out of my head. See, look, I'm going to go get to work for you guys. It's 11:31. I do got to cut rocks early because I just won't get the work done. All right. And we'll have Michigan. And Nick's like, sorry, I was walking the dog. Yeah, but you actually, I wasn't really referring to you. I just saw you. I saw you second, Nick, actually. All right. There was another one who did it there. Oh my God. What are you saying?
Depends upon this and this.
I just was pulling a hypothetical out. That's all. Just I don't want to confuse anybody.
People.
All right. But yeah, and we'll also get the rest of Pennsylvania up because there are a lot of good nuggets in there, right? Like support for fracking. And give me a second. Real quick. I will bang through some of this with you guys.
You got to fix the map link.
In the description, it happened again?
Yes.
It did happen again. It's cutting it off for some reason. I got to remember that I have to go back and manually put in that map. Okay. Actually, it cut it off for both sites, Laura.
Yes.
It did. Okay, guys. Sorry about that. And we're going to, oh, wow. It did it for a lot.
Lisa, nice November 20th. Like by the time you know the election.
Yeah. Well, that's the November 20th date too, is going to be the date for the emergency use authorization for Pfizer's vaccine. For the Pfizer vaccine. It's a big deal. It's a huge story, a huge story. Let me get you guys a couple of nuggets before I go, actually. Okay. Edit these puppies. What else you guys want to know? We asked about, I'll give you guys some choice. We asked about the U.S. Mexico-Canada trade agreement, that versus NAFTA. We asked about the support for tariffs. We did ask again about whether or not people believe they're shy Trump voters. Okay. 54% tariff use is up to now. Do you support or oppose the use of tariffs as leverage in trade negotiations with other nations? 54% support, 24% oppose. All right. Let's get to the heart of it. Where's fracking? There you go. What the frack, Here we go. What the frack, man? Fracking is now just under 50%, and oppose is 27.8. That is a big. You see the size of the mistake that Joe Biden made in Pennsylvania, and unsure now is 26.2. It's hovered roughly around that. We tend to believe that a lot of people who say that are full of crap. They support fracking and they just simply don't want to tell you. Okay. I did put that in the wrong order, but let's look at shy Trump voters. Did that change considerably? Do you believe there is a significant number of shy Trump voters who 63% roughly say yes? So that's about what it was in Pennsylvania last time, correct? Anybody on the Public Polling Project? I think that's what it was last time. That's 65% last time. So we're right in the ball game. And then that's how you know, by the way, that the change in the presidential vote preference did not have really anything to do with a response bias or anything, because we're finding similar numbers. It's just that people probably searched fracking. I mean, it was in the news, so it's more of a thing now. And then the U.S. Mexico-Canada trade agreement. Let's look at that. I'll get rid of the other one. Make that the last one. Do you support the USMCA over NAFTA? And again, I bet you this is going to be huge. Yeah. So a lot of people are unsure, and by a lot, I mean almost a third. And we've been finding this everywhere. But for the most part, only 14% opposed replacing NAFTA as the as the USMCA. 3 times that support it. And about 17% have never heard of it. That's actually down. So people showed some kind of. And are you familiar with the Biden revelations? Let's look at this. Because this is higher. Like I said, I think it was close to 80% in Pennsylvania. And it's less in other places. Unless I'm thinking of the other state I just looked at. Let's find out right now. Yeah, 73%. So it must be Minnesota where I'm looking at that. Or Wisconsin, whatever. You'll see it when it goes up. But 73% are familiar with the Biden revelations, and that has risen significantly over time. That's a little bit higher than Michigan. Michigan's like 71 and change, 71.6 last time I looked. So it could be. And then, we'll get into it. The generic ballot, Trump runs ahead of the generic ballot of I think so anyway. I think Trump runs ahead of Republicans in the generic ballot. Let's look. Oh, yes. Oh, yes. The Democrats on the generic ballot in Pennsylvania are 47.3%. The Republicans are only 41.9%. Republicans as a party are getting killed. Trump is winning. Trump's female vote is stronger than the generic ballot for Republicans, and men are only 5-point lead for the Republican candidate. So there you have it. You're not going to have our poll where you see Trump weighing down the rest of the ticket. Trump will have coattails for the other ticket. All right. So there we have it. So yeah, I'm not going to wade into that. I'll leave that to Robert and John Ralston in Nevada. The early vote does look incredibly good for Republicans. I am telling you though, one too many fools on Nevada. And I just, they are Republicans typically overrepresented. It is possible, but then they can count back. They could take Nevada from him, guys. It will be very easy to steal the state of Nevada. It's just true. 200,000 ballots, they could just write in if they wanted to, So they are doing much better. And Dante, and the early vote is looking ginormous. You want the update here? Let me give you an update from Ralston on Nevada before I go. And then I got to kick rocks. But this is what he's talking about. There are definitely danger signs in Nevada. By the way, Trump tweeted the front page of the morning call. We get PA, we win the whole thing. That's what Trump tweeted. And it was them covering his rally. And that is what he said. That's it. That is.
It's just the easiest path. So everybody who saying you how do I say this nicely? You're wrong when you say he needs PA to win. What you're saying is PA is the easiest path. You were just talking about hypotheticals, that you would need Wisconsin.
Here's why.
Michigan if you lose PA.
Here is why though Nevada, as I keep telling people, is just a waste of time because Clark County will make it up, whether it's legit or not. Okay, here you go. Brand new this morning. Democrats ticked up to 72,000 in Clark County. Mail, 96,000. In-person Republicans, 24,000. They had a 72,000 basically firewall that is just under the total of 2016, which was 73,000. Folks, that's all mail. Do you understand what I'm saying? Yes, I am absolutely saying that you can bank a lot of this as being done by ballot harvesters, and it's probably not real. A lot of it. Significant amount of it. They'll just make it up. They see that the actual activity is lagging. Shit, print them and write them. Postmark it. It's the Wild West out there right now. It's the Wild West. There are no rules. There is no, I'm just saying it would have to be an overwhelming crossover. And then maybe it is. Maybe it could be. I'm just telling you. It's how many electoral votes, guys? It's
For Nevada?
That's right. 6. It's Pennsylvania. They can't be stopped. They can't be Kiki. No. Or Kelkeezy. They can't. And I imagine the name's probably Kelly, but they cannot be stopped. We did a whole show on this. How many electoral votes are we talking about, guys?
That's
Right.
right. That's
So
right.
6, 26, 26, right? All right, or roughly, right? Wise guys. All right, 29 for sure, but I think he's got that locked up. I do. All right, I'm going to kick rocks 20 minutes early. I was going to do it a lot earlier, but you know, it's fun. It's fun, but I'm going to go get back to work. All right. Keep an eye out for those economic indicators on PPD. Keep an eye out for that Pfizer story, vaccine story on PPD today. All right. They will be out today. Good stuff. Really good stuff. And then, of course, Michigan, that's just about wrapped. So, persuasion. But Duke says when Harry Reid dies, it'll be easier. Anybody who tells you that's not the case out there is lying. They are lying. All right. It's just true. It happens. It does happen. All right. And that's it. And that's why the free for all was such a sad thing to see. All right. But keep an eye out. Keep an eye out on my Twitter account. That's where you'll get updated for that stuff. I fixed those links. So when we're done here, refresh it. Those links will be up and just keep peeking at it. It looks like we're going to start doing like nightly updates. That is when it seems like we're able to do it. All right. So remember what I said about those certain groups in Pennsylvania. Those groups have got to get out if one candidate or the other is going to win, right? And we talked about those groups specifically. Biden has the greater than 30%, but less than 50% likely. And then Trump has that big election day, greater than 50% likely that he has got to get out. All right. So there we have it, guys. It was a good show, I think. We'll have more soon. We'll go over those details. But when I get them, we'll go over those results when I get them. But we got to go get them. So I'm going to wrap it up here. Thanks for watching Inside the Numbers. We'll be back with our brand new display tomorrow. All right. Tweak it a little bit. And it got crashed into.
You got those links.
Yep. And I'll tweet them out. I mean, I guess I just don't want anybody to like. You can still. I saw the thing. Yeah, you can still fund the public polling project, but I'm probably going to close it out tomorrow.
I'm talking about the maps.
Oh, they're in the thing in the YouTube description. I'll tweet them out while the show credits are running. Okay, I'll send them into the comment section while it's running. All right, so I'm going to kill out here, but I probably will close it out tomorrow. So if you want to get in a contribution just to get it in, do so today, because I think that'll be a wrap by the time we're done. All right, and all right, folks, all the best. See you at 10 a.m. Eastern Standard Time tomorrow. Don't miss me tonight on Quite Frankly at what time, Laura?
At 7. Hold on.
7:30?
7:15. I want to say to 7:45. Or hold on, let me get my calendar. Or I should say your calendar. You are 7:15 to 7:45. I was right.
Okay, it looks like I'm glitching a little bit here. I don't know what's going on, but it looks like I'm glitching. I don't know if they can still hear me, but I totally froze. Okay, you can? Mm-hmm. It looks like something in the browser just froze. I don't think it's the actual set. It looks like the browser. I tried to kill that thing off, but I didn't. All right, there we go. So I'm back again. 7:15 to 7:45. Quite frankly, tonight. Always a good conversation with Frank. All right, don't miss it if you have the time to watch it. All the best, folks. See you.
How much you wanna bet that I can get you back inside your head before the summer ends and spread a little love. Just for a little fun, I'll make you come back to me before the rise of every sun. Baby, it's meant to be, I know you got a man, but he don't understand. You're gonna be a heartbreaker. You're such a love taker. So just suck me in and you can toss me like a cigarette. 'Cause I just wanna be a bad habit, yeah. Rhythm in our love, it's impressive, excessive. You can't make this stuff up. My chest beats, it's restless, wakes the neighbors up above. Yeah, baby, come and show me love. Baby, come and show me love. Because you're gonna be a heartbreaker. You're such a love taker. So just suck me in and you can toss me like a cigarette. 'Cause I just wanna be a bad habit.
can get on a plane and take a one-way ride. Steal us away to find a place we can hide. It wouldn't take much to spear for a knife, so give in to the need and leave it all behind.
Cause I know that you know that I know that you want me. You told me, now show me, come blow me away. Cause I know that you know that I know that you want me. You told me, now show me, come blow